On July 18, 1984, the small community of San Ysidro, California, was shaken by an event that would go down as one of the most tragic acts of violence in American history. What began as an ordinary day at a local McDonald's restaurant quickly turned into a nightmare when 41-year-old James Huberty entered the establishment, heavily armed. Over the course of 77 terrifying minutes, he carried out an attack that left 21 people dead and 19 others injured before law enforcement intervened. This deep dive explores the San Ysidro McDonald's massacre, its background, the events leading up to it, and the lasting impact it left on survivors and the nation. James Oliver Huberty was born in 1952 and endured a turbulent upbringing marked by hardship and alienation. A childhood bout with polio left him with lasting physical limitations, contributing to a deep sense of social isolation. His mother's abandonment of the family for a religious mission further fractured his early years, fostering resentment and insecurity. As he grew older, his struggles continued. He faced repeated job losses, financial instability, and an increasing sense of disillusionment with society. Those close to him described him as an intelligent but brooding individual, prone to paranoia and violent rhetoric, traits that would later manifest in a devastating way. A troubled childhood, a failed career, and a deep resentment towards society all contributed to the fateful events of that July day. As a child, Huberty contracted polio, which left him with mobility issues and a sense of alienation. His mother, a devout religious believer, abandoned the family when he was young, further deepening his sense of neglect and anger. These early experiences shaped his worldview, making him feel like an outcast. After losing his job as a welder due to downsizing, Huberty became increasingly erratic and unpredictable. He moved his family to San Ysidro, hoping for a fresh start, but his frustrations only deepened. Witnesses described him as someone who frequently spoke about his grievances with the government and society at large. He believed he was being conspired against, frequently voicing concerns about economic instability and foreign policy. His erratic behavior was evident to those around him. He would obsessively monitor news reports, growing more paranoid with each passing day. He believed his family was on the brink of financial ruin, even though they were not destitute. His wife, Etna, later described how he would often talk about impending doom and his belief that society had cast him aside. A day before the attack, Huberty reportedly told his wife, "I'm going hunting for humans." This chilling statement, dismissed at the time as empty words, would soon turn into reality. The following day, he left his home believing that society had failed him and decided to take out his anger in a horrifying way. On the afternoon of July 18, 1984, Huberty left his home, carrying 3 firearms, a 9mm Uzi carbine, a Winchester 12-gauge pump-action shotgun, and a .45 caliber pistol. He arrived at a McDonald's restaurant located near the U.S.-Mexico border, where families, children, and employees were enjoying a typical summer day. At approximately 3:56 p.m., he entered the building and immediately began his rampage. His first victims were a young boy and his mother, struck without warning. Panic spread through the restaurant as people tried to escape or hide beneath tables and behind counters. Huberty moved methodically through the establishment, targeting both employees and customers indiscriminately. He ordered people to stay where they were, showing no mercy as he moved from one part of the restaurant to another. Survivors later recounted how he appeared eerily composed, stopping at times to taunt his victims before continuing. His attack extended beyond the restaurant's interior. Witnesses outside recalled how he even fired at people in the parking lot. The atmosphere inside the restaurant became one of sheer terror. Employees and customers alike tried to find ways to evade his line of fire, but the compact layout of the establishment made it nearly impossible. Some hid in storage rooms, hoping he would not find them, while others played dead on the floor. Despite the horror unfolding inside, confusion and delays hindered the police response. Some bystanders mistakenly assumed a robbery was taking place, while others hesitated to call authorities, believing the gunfire might be fireworks or a prank. When calls did reach the police, initial reports were unclear, leading to delays in determining the severity of the situation. Furthermore, law enforcement, unfamiliar with handling such an unpredictable mass shooting, initially set up a perimeter instead of immediately engaging the gunman, costing precious minutes that allowed the attack to continue unchecked. Some bystanders mistakenly assumed a robbery was taking place, while others hesitated to call authorities, believing the gunfire might be fireworks or a prank. These crucial minutes allowed Huberty to continue his attack without immediate intervention. It took an hour and 17 minutes before a San Diego Police Department SWAT sniper, Charles Foster, was able to take a clear shot at Huberty from a nearby rooftop. A single rifle round struck him in the chest, ending the ordeal. The police response was heavily scrutinized in the aftermath of the massacre. Officers initially struggled to assess the situation, as they had received conflicting reports about what was happening inside. The heavily fortified nature of the McDonald's building also made it difficult for them to intervene without risking additional casualties. By the time law enforcement entered the restaurant, the damage had already been done. Authorities counted 21 fatalities, including children as young as 4 months old. 19 others suffered injuries, some of whom still bear the physical and emotional scars to this day. Survivors spoke of the lasting trauma, with many requiring years of therapy to cope with the psychological toll. The San Ysidro massacre was a wake-up call for law enforcement and policymakers. The slow response time prompted police departments nationwide to revise their approach to active shooter situations, leading to the modern active shooter protocols used today. SWAT teams were subsequently trained to intervene faster in high-risk scenarios rather than waiting for prolonged standoff situations. McDonald's, deeply affected by the tragedy, demolished the restaurant and later established a memorial for the victims. The local community held vigils and memorial services, honoring those lost in the tragedy. Residents of San Ysidro expressed a mix of grief and relief at the site's demolition, with many hoping to move forward while ensuring the victims were never forgotten. The memorial became a place of reflection, visited by both survivors and those who wished to pay their respects. The fast food chain also took steps to improve security measures at its locations, including better emergency planning and training for employees in case of crisis situations. The massacre also raised larger discussions about mental health and gun laws. In its aftermath, debates emerged over the accessibility of firearms to individuals with a history of instability, leading to increased scrutiny of background check processes. While no immediate federal legislation was passed, the tragedy contributed to broader discussions that would later influence gun control policies. Additionally, it underscored the need for more accessible mental health services, with advocates calling for improved early intervention programs and crisis response initiatives to prevent similar incidents in the future. Huberty had legally purchased his firearms, sparking debates on whether stricter regulations could help prevent similar tragedies. Mental health advocates pushed for improved access to treatment, emphasizing that individuals in crisis should receive timely and adequate care. For the survivors and the families of the victims, the wounds left by that day remain profound. Annual memorials serve as a reminder of those lost and a call to ensure such events never happen again. The tragedy also sparked community-wide efforts to support affected families, with counseling services and support groups established in the years that followed. The San Ysidro McDonald's massacre remains one of the darkest chapters in modern U.S. history. It serves as a grim reminder of how personal despair and societal discontent can escalate into unthinkable violence. The lessons learned from this tragedy have influenced emergency response tactics, mental health discussions, and public safety policies across the country. Through understanding and remembering, we honor the victims and strive for a future where tragedies like this become a thing of the past. This has been Deep Dive Truth, bringing you the stories that need to be told. The tragedy at San Ysidro remains relevant today as discussions about public safety, mental health, and gun control continue to shape policies and debates. By examining these events, we not only remember the lives lost but also work toward preventing similar horrors in the future. Stay safe, stay informed, and thank you for watching.
If you enjoyed this video and want to dive deeper into more cases like this one, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to like the video if you found the story compelling, and share it with your friends and family who might be interested in true crime and mysteries. By subscribing, you'll stay up to date with all our latest content and join a growing community of curious minds exploring the most fascinating cases. Click the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Your support means everything.